likes to this videos? If we make 5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. Enough is enough. The last threat issued by Trump froze all traitor Republicans. After the failed repealing of Obamacare, President Donald Trump is very angry. He made a promise that he will repeal this disastrous health care. But Republicans failed him and the American people. President Trump decided to make a threat legislators can't ignore. Boom. Hit him where it counts. President Trump wants to take away cost-sharing subsidies for insurers, which is something the director of the Office of Management and Budget had also hinted at. We are looking at the cost-sharing payments on a month-to-month basis. We made them today. We'll make them tomorrow. But I don't think we'll see a long-term commitment from this administration. Government subsidies to insurance companies are helping them stay afloat when they would otherwise be less profitable. But the second half is even better. Obama made an executive order exempting members of Congress from abiding by Obamacare rules. That's right, the people who make the laws are not even affected by them. Trump wants to change that too. President Trump just made a huge threat that will have to put pressure on insurance companies and lawmakers to finally get it together and make healthcare work for the American people. What do you think of this? Share your opinion. Michelle claims she is a sex symbol - gets shut down right away. As soon as Melania Trump got in the White House, a lot of people proclaimed her the most beautiful and elegant woman to be First Lady for a long period of time. Probably this has hurt Michelle Obama's ego, as the ex-First Lady started a ridiculous campaign in order to make herself look like a sex symbol. According to Freedom Daily, during a recent interview in which she talked about her numerous accomplishments acting as First Lady, Michelle said she is USA's sex symbol, claiming that it is hard for her to even walk down the street because everyone is staring at her. As I got older, I found that men would whistle at me or make comments about how I looked as I walked down the street, Michelle said, adding that she was regularly catcalled wherever she went. As if my body were their property. As if I were an object to be commented on instead of a full human being with thoughts and feelings of my own. Twitter users immediately fired back to let Michelle know that she is anything but a sex symbol. More like an abstinence symbol, I think, one user wrote of Michelle. Her poor attitude and condescending arrogance is a symbol for abstinence. A person's charm is what attracts. She is disgusting. Every parent of a horny teenage boy should make certain he has a picture of Michelle in his wallet next to the Trojan. Another posted, she is a sex symbol. A symbol for not wanting sex. Pictures her every time you look at someone and you definitely won't want sex, a user wrote. First, if she's a sex symbol, what does that make Melania? And in all seriousness, she could be the most beautiful person on the planet, but to me, she's ugly on the inside, another user added. We would be happy to hear your thoughts and predictions. Hillary will run for the hills after hearing what secret Grassley exposed. Chuck Grassley, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, according to Fox News, is after Clinton's friend Sidney Blumenthal. At the time when Hillary was Secretary of State, Blumenthal was her off-the-books intelligence resource. Meanwhile, he was also a part of a political party in Georgia. Even though he has a foreign tie, he did not register as a foreign agent. Blumenthal was a senior advisor during the Bill Clinton administration but was unable to work for Hillary Clinton's State Department. Nevertheless, he would send Hillary Clinton intelligence memos. Of particular interest are memos he sent about Libya around the time of the Benghazi attack that left 4 Americans dead in 2012. Grassley was worried about this connection and stated, in an April 2015 letter to then Attorney General Holder, I wrote about Sidney Blumenthal's efforts to influence U.S. policy by leveraging his close relationship with Secretary Clinton. Mr. Blumenthal repeatedly sent Secretary Clinton intelligence memos and at one point Secretary Clinton told him to keep them coming. News articles reported that Mr. Blumenthal transmitted documentation to Secretary Clinton on behalf of the Georgian Dream, a political party in the country of Georgia. Whoever engages with a U.S. official while being an agent, representative, employee or servant to a non-American entity has to register as a foreign agent, but Blumenthal did not do that. As Grassley asked the Justice Department to explain why he was not required to register, saying it might help others to understand whether they are supposed to register or not. He continued, particularly when the Trump administration has required Lieutenant General Michael Flynn to retroactively register under the law. Indeed, the Trump administration also required Paul Manafort, the Podesta Group and Mercury LLC to register for their actions on behalf of the Ukrainian government. This whole thing stinks to high heaven. Can you imagine if President Trump had an advisor who was passing on information on behalf of a foreign political party? The press would lose their minds. Source: Fox News. Gowdy explodes at GOP for failing to repeal Obamacare after 7 years of promises. Gowdy was obviously angry this Friday after GOP did not succeed one more time to stick to what they have been promising for 7 years. From the day of the implementation of Obamacare in 2010, Republicans across the country have been earning votes by vowing to repeal it and change it with a consumer-centered, free market solution. After the Republican country got a majority in both branches of the government, everyone assumed they will realize the promised. Nevertheless, over 6 months passed after Trump won the election, and it is still not changed. Our problem is that for 7 years we've been telling people what we're against and what we're opposed to, and then we've had 7 months to govern, and the best we can come up with is a skinny plan on 24 hours notice? Gowdy stated on Fox and Friends. We gotta get better at telling people what we believe, why we believe it, and then persuading them that it's right for the country. We've had plenty of time to do it. We set unrealistic expectations and then we never meet them, which leads to anger and frustration. Gowdy went on. We've had 7 years to figure it out, and the best we can come up with is something called skinny. When asked what Republicans should do moving forward now that multiple attempts to repeal Obamacare have failed, Gowdy asserted that Republicans must continue the repeal effort since it was a fundamental promise of so many GOP campaigns, including that of President Donald Trump. The repeal desperately needs to be done. The Affordable Care Act is failing, Gowdy answered. Then the South Carolina representative dropped some advice about what it will take to repeal Obamacare. It's not going to be done with 24 hours notice and a bill that has the word skinny in it, he stated. This comes as the Senate did not succeed in passing a skinny repeal of Obamacare on Friday morning. On the vote, several GOP senators, among which was even John McCain, voted against the repeal. The skinny repeal was tightly held by Republican leaders and was unveiled just hours before senators voted on it. It sought to make concessions within the Republican Party by repealing the individual and employer mandates, in addition to temporarily repealing the medical device tax. The bill also sought to provide states more flexibility to operate outside of Obamacare's stiff regulations. Still, the bill ultimately failed early Friday morning by a vote of 51-48. We would be happy to hear your thoughts and predictions. Breaking: McCain busted. Multiple Hill staffers confirm last night McCain was heard laughing WDMs and remarked, "Let's see Donald make America great again now." Prior to John McCain's vote against the repealing of Obamacare, Bernie Sanders signaled to Senator Jeanne Shaheen, "Watch this. We would be happy to hear your thoughts and predictions." Madness after Tiffany Trump seen doing this. Earlier this month, Tiffany Trump along with her mother Marla Maples, went to Rome for their summer vacation. Now, the cost of this vacation on American taxpayers has been revealed. Daily Mail reported that the State Department spent $100,000 on car rentals alone for Tiffany and her entourage. In addition, federal records show that 3 separate payments of $54,694.84, $39,188.64 and $23,605.96 were made on July 18 in Rome. This was 2 days before Tiffany and Marla disembarked in Portofino after almost 2 weeks spent cruising up the coast of Italy. Records show that American taxpayers spent $117,489.44 fee for the car rentals that transported the two women and Secret Service agents around. However, this is nothing compared to what was spent on car rentals back in May when President Donald Trump visited Rome and Vatican City with First Lady Melania and first daughter Iga. During that trip, the State Department paid $802,335.68 to the same car rental company when President Trump arrived on May 25 before making an additional 3 payments on May 27, the day the group departed the country. These payments were $904,895.69, $81,476.48 and $168,241.88, bringing the grand total spent on rentals cars to $1,956,949.73 for that 48-hour trip. While they were in Rome, Tiffany and Marla stopped by the Pantheon, causing far less of a scene than the one created when Iga and Jared visited back in May, shutting down the square outside so that they could pull right up to the door of the famed temple. Marla posted a photo of the pair there on her Instagram page. It's not clear whether Tiffany stayed in a hotel with her mother or at the U.S. Embassy, where members of the first family tend to stay during visits to Rome. What do you think of this? Share your opinion.